he's loud. So.
I know. Okay.
Look, I'll see a little bit.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, ghouls. We are here. LongWalker's here. Daughter Lawton will be joining us in just a minute. She's getting our son set up right now. So we're gonna go over the channel now that we're going to be talking about today. Which means I actually need to add it. Sorry for him crying. One of those days. Screen. Share.
I'm not even sure he's crying now.
Okay, we got it set up. Good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this is the page that we will be going over. This is it's Christian faith. We just watched this thing a couple days ago, and I had daughter bought and watch it too because I thought it was really good, and it just showed how close together the faiths are, even if you're not the same faith. You know, with our Kemetic, we still follow the same principles and the same points to stick to the marriage. He is the same way, even though he just got married like 2 months ago, right?
Yeah, 2 or 3 months.
2 or 3 months ago. So, you know, they're newer into this than we are. We've been in the game for a while. What? Yep, 20 years for us. Good, bad, ugly, upside down, right side up, all in between. So, this one, I think that this was his original channel with that guy, right?
It is, yeah, I think it's just changed.
And they changed it, and now it's going to be him and his wife doing the podcast style things. It's an hour long, so we'll be, you know, stopping and talking about stuff and going over everything. So here's daughter Button with our son.
Here's
our second born. Firstborn's, you know, in his tent playing games, I think. Drawing, sorry.
Working on his animations and stuff.
Yep.
So it isn't just Christians in general that are not wanting to get married. It's like pretty much all men across the board in general are not wanting to get married.
Yeah.
I don't hear a lot of women wanting to get married either.
No. And it's funny because even Hadan and Lot covered that today.
Marriage?
Well, not marriage, but like they were going over some of the women, and they told you one of them's the same that they both covered on today's episode.
Right.
But they were talking, you know, like Hadan was going off. He was another one of his rants.
He's so mellow.
I know, and he was talking about how like this is the reason these women are the reason the guys do not want to commit anymore.
Right. There's and even Mediocre talks about it's like it's just too much risk with no reward.
Yes.
To, you know, get married, and I mean they do kind of cite finances as one of the issues, but it's not necessarily like the case. It's just like, you know, nobody wants to deal with the character of a woman like that.
No, and it was so funny. This woman was going off on it, saying, "Oh, never go 50-50 with a guy. Never have them pay half and you pay half, because then they're gonna be having, you know, saving up their other half and taking other girls out and doing, you know, and having a side girl on the side. Well, you're paying for all this." And it's like, wait, no, you're doing 50-50, so shouldn't you have that extra money then too?
Yeah, right. And I don't believe in doing 50-50 anyway. Like, I mean, with the exception of like when you're the first in the dating phase and depends on who asks who, and if you're just kind of going out more as friends than anything else, then of course, you know
50-50 is a good option.
Exactly. But otherwise, no, it's like men are supposed to be the providers. They are supposed to be the ones putting it down. But on the flip side, the women are supposed to bring their conversation skills, their beauty, and whatever else they can bring to the table. And if they can't do that,
that's another thing that Hadan was saying. He was like, okay, so what are you bringing to the table?
Oh my God, they are the table.
Yeah.
And like I said, just because you're on all fours doesn't mean you're the table, you know.
Well, sometimes, I mean, that might be what the guy wants.
But Well, it's good. I mean, to have faith and to strengthen that
Yes.
is it's really it's something that's like missing in the world. And even though we're Kemetic monks, I don't have any problem with steering people toward Christianity.
No, the true Christianity from what Jesus practiced is actually really good.
Like table flipping,
Jesus.
righteous Jesus. But like I don't have any problem. I mean, they just need to have something solid to cling to that has good morals,
Yes.
good background, good foundation, with actual rules set in place and consequences set in place.
Exactly.
I can't stand the people that are like, well, I don't need, a fake religion or a fake set of rules to tell me how to be a good person. Like, that's not enough.
No,
You've got to have a consequence for when you're doing stuff like wrong.
Exactly. And in reality, it's all.
Shit. Sorry.
You're fine. No, you're not touching the key.
Yeah, he's grabbing for it.
Yeah, but in all reality, what it is it's people try to cling to a religion when it's about the spirituality, not the per se. I mean, the religion's good because if you follow it truly.
Right. Well, like I was saying, you need the rules. That's what's missing, because even like with Buddhism and everything, the spirituality is strong with that, and they do teach you how to find that divine spark within. But that's where it ends. It ends with within, and it's like you need to learn how to surrender yourself to something bigger, something more, and learn to serve that.
Exactly.
And if you're not doing that, if you're not following those basic sets of rules, I keep smacking.
Well, he keeps reaching for
those basic sets of rules, then you're just not gonna be the same thing, and there's a lot of new age hippy dippy crap, and I hate to say that, but it is just a bunch of hippy dippy crap. And it's like you see a lot of the free spirit women that are running around.
Yeah, and that's a big problem. Those free spirited women is not
free spirit.
Yeah.
Which means guys, and probably as a biracial child.
Yeah, and just that they don't want to settle, they don't want to bind.
Right.
With this reality, we are set to this earth to bind to it, to root, to ground, and then to go on life.
Yeah.
But like a lot of these people now just don't want to do that.
No, it's like just floating through, and it's like, we have to understand that there is something beyond this, and perhaps this isn't necessarily our home, but we're here for a purpose and we're supposed to serve.
Exactly.
And
that's the biggest thing that they talk about too. Is that you're put together with people for a reason, for a purpose.
Yep.
And that's one of the biggest things to know.
Yeah. It's not about what you want. It's about what God wants.
Yeah, it's about God's plan.
And about a divine union. You need to lean in this way a little bit more. Okay. It's really difficult. But, it's about like a divine union, which is not just all about hedonistic pleasures and everything and getting what you want and being happy. It's about serving.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, this channel, it's been pretty good so far, and
like he on his last one that he did, this last video, not this one, but afterwards, I went over today, only like a 10-minute one. He's actually getting to who he truly is in it, because he's lax here and he's holding back. When he gets into this new one, he's kind of just like,
Is holding back?
Yeah, for him.
Yeah, I have to say he's a little bit of an arrogant air.
Yeah.
But he is younger, and I think that he'll like find a better,
Yeah,
flow.
he just basically tells people that they got to stop being pussies and
need
to grow a pair, and
it's true, because it is a world of people being very soft.
Well, then that's another thing he talks about on that one was the fact that most church pastors, they are like in the gay section.
Oh,
like it's like they're so they lean so gay, and they're not men. They don't stand strong.
They do not represent masculinity, and I understand that like masculinity isn't always just you can be. You're supposed to be a good provider, which doesn't just mean providing money. It means providing a safe space.
Yes.
It means providing the means for the woman in your life to be feminine and to be able to be that divine charger for you.
And 2/3 of guys don't do that.
There's no way.
No,
they're simps, I guess. That's
I
the
mean,
word.
because what you got to look at is you're looking at a world where a lot of their parents were all single family parents.
Yes.
You know, the mothers were raising the sons, and that does not work.
No, like single mothers typically will raise feminine men and masculine women.
Yes.
And you and I are the perfect example of that.
Exactly, we are.
It's like, I'm really glad that I did have that stronger sense of masculinity in my youth and everything, but we're not meant to hold it forever.
Exactly.
It doesn't look very good on us, you know.
Oh, and Sancho, I don't know if you heard on some of my other ones, I'm going to be going to San Francisco Pride June 28th and videotaping and seeing what I can find, what I can do, and just being the monk that I am there. So I'm not sure if you heard about that yet.
Yeah, we'll have more information about that too, but that's going to be interesting.
It's going to be an all-day event, so we're going to get a lot of footage, I'm sure. I'm going to have everything clear.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit better.
Oh, yeah, that's a lot better.
Yeah. Yes, I'll have to clear space and make sure that you can record and see what's up. They're kind of interested just to see if it's really as family friendly as they say, and also talk to some of the people that claim to be LGBT pastors and clergy and everything,
and how they go about doing that.
Yeah, how do you justify that?
Yeah,
the biggest thing that I'm always saying with that is, for Christians, it says to deny yourself and follow Christ. Pick up your cross, deny yourself and follow Christ. That doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, whatever. You're supposed to deny yourself. It shouldn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
If you're gay or straight, you just pick up your cross, deny yourself. Pride shouldn't even exist. They certainly shouldn't be at Pride promoting it, you know.
That's exactly right. And Pride is one of the biggest sins.
It is the biggest sin.
Yes.
It leads to all other downfall of everything.
Exactly. And don't worry, I'll be as safe as I possibly can.
I mean, I'm a little bit worried too.
I am too, to be honest, but you know, I'm a monk. I'll do my thing.
Yeah, just be neutral.
I walk the streets of Bakersfield, for crying out loud, so
it's true. All right, let's start with this video, and I'm sure that there's many talking points, so
God doesn't care about
you gotta mute it.
God don't give two rips about your wedding. God does not care about how big and fat that diamond on your ring is. God cares that you two are now bound spiritually for life so you can serve his kingdom.
Yeah.
You can do that with a wedding band, for crying out loud. What is going on, guys? Welcome to the first episode on the Christian
Faith
podcast. Guys, my name is David Christian Hammond. I am here with my wife,
Mallory Faith Hammond.
Now, guys, to get you guys up to speed, yes, this podcast was biblically masculine. We had our co-host, Braden. We had a falling out, guys, purely due to business reasons. There was no beef. We're still friends. All is good. We're not planning on bringing back this podcast. I told Braden, hey, man, we just need to take a break to make sure we're all equally yoked, putting in the same amount of work. And then Braden actually said, let's pull the plug completely. So we were not planning on bringing this back. But due to spontaneous events, considering we already had 4,000 subscribers, it was always my YouTube channel. I was the one editing, et cetera, et cetera. We decided to bring it back with Mallory and I. Again, guys, there's no beef. We love Braden. We're still all friends. We're going to be preaching this summer, but just due to business reasons and each person putting in the same amount of work, it just was not fair on my end. I was putting in about 90% of the work. So we love them. All is good. But on this podcast, guys, moving forward, I'm going to let Mallory explain what the whole point of this is, and we'll begin.
So yeah, David and I felt inspired by the Holy Spirit, we believe, to start this podcast. As he mentioned, it's a very creative name of both of our middle names put together. Coincidentally, it's Christian and Faith. But yeah, we just figured, considering 90 to 95% of our conversations behind closed doors and off camera revolve around doctrine, theology, the modern church, the state that it's in, our opinions on it, what the Bible has to say, we figured it would be helpful and possibly edifying to you guys if we were to just press record on some of these topics.
So with that said, in the first episode, guys, we're going to be covering or going over why are no Christians in 2025 getting married?
Yeah, so just to get the ball rolling a bit, throw out some statistics out there. Marriage in general is plummeting significantly. I think there was like a small rise the past couple years, but people are arguing that's because of the rise of, same-sex marriage, which obviously isn't the case in the church, hopefully. But it's just something David and I had been realizing more and more, either with people we used to be friends with or people that we see online. There's these men and women of God, whether, serving the Lord or claiming to be Christians, but we find them in their late 20s and 30s, and they're still not getting married. And it's kind of going down the same pattern that the world is in. And we have a lot of thoughts about it, a lot of theories. So David, if you want to get started.
Yeah, guys. So simply put, we're going to be using our political background, apologetic, polemic. You guys know I'm an evangelist full time. So I really study this stuff in depth, as well as Mallory, which is part of the reason we brought the podcast back. We're very equally yoked on that. So guys, in a few years' time, by 2030, almost 50% of women will be childless and single. That is a statistical fact. You don't have to be Christian. You don't have to be Muslim, atheist. That is just how it is. Also, guys, almost 50% of divorces now are by Christians. So like Christianity, even though, yes, we're born again believers, I'll be honest, I just think the majority of Christians, I don't believe they're born again. I think it's as simple as that, because we actually know statistically as well, too, that couples that stay together the longest, like we're talking the lowest divorce rate, are Christian couples who pray together, right? So it's undeniable, guys. It's not working. There's something wrong. Mallory and I have a ton of ideas on why this is happening. And I think to start it, because we're just going to let this free flow, it really just comes down to, first and foremost, yeah, you're not born again. Guys, majority of churches today, and this is just a fact as well, do not teach what it means to be born again. The Catholic Church definitely doesn't. Orthodox Church definitely doesn't. A lot of Protestant churches are a lot better, but even with that, guys, there's the majority of Protestant churches are just completely evangelical, hippie, goofy churches, or very like lying signs and wonders Pentecostal churches. And again, this is not a beef with like any one particular church. I think you can get saved at any church. Maybe not like Mormonism or Jehovah's Witness, and maybe not like Catholics and stuff, but you can find Jesus and get saved at any church. And by the way, Mallory and I are not, we don't prescribe to a denomination. We're born again, Bible believing Christians, but there is a lack or an absence of truth and simplicity in the gospel with modern churches. And because of that, there's a bunch, just an influx, guys, of unregenerated baby Christians, right? Well, they're not even babies because they're just unregenerated. And because of that, guys, because they're not being led by the Spirit, right? John 14:26, they're being led by really their own emotions. Because if you're not regenerated, you're being led by your flesh, guys, right? Jesus will still say, make no mistake, depart from me, I never knew you. They're being led by their emotions. They're getting unequally.
All right, we're unmuted.
We're unmuted?
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know if I can be heard all the way over here across the room, so you might have to...
Sancho, can you hear Daughter of Otten right now?
Can you hear me all the way across the room, even if I talk at this level? Otherwise, he's going to have to talk for me. Reiterate what I was saying. Make sure you're centered on the camera, too, because it's just you.
Oh, yeah.
Just move the camera.
There we go. And he said, I am a Protestant Christian. Protestant. Even across the room, he can hear you.
Okay, awesome. So we got married when we got officially married when we were 21. We were handcuffed when we were 20, and we got together when we were 19. So we were at that proper age, I feel. And we had our first son when we were only 22, 23.
Yes.
So that's like, and I always say that's like a really good age to start with a family. Because you can get to the end of all of this and then go do your career and everything. You have plenty of time. Even by the time our second son leaves the house, we'll still have 15 to 20 years to go do whatever we want to do.
Exactly right.
Travel or whatever, but it seems like the whole narrative has been flipped where they want you to have a career and all this stuff early and then think about a family.
Sorry.
And what are you doing?
Try some headphones.
And I think that that's just all the wrong way to go. It's like you need to focus on family and marriage first.
Yes.
And then build your life together. And I know that the manosphere says the exact opposite. They say, that you should build up your wealth and then you'll get a lady.
Yeah, mediocre, all of them, that's what they pretty much say is it's like, oh, before you get married, you should have your everything in order.
All
you should.
Finances,
and that's just not the case because that's how you do it. That's how you build a family.
Right. It gives you a huge amount of incentive but I understand where they're coming from too because women don't want to build. They just want to enter the castle after it's already been built too.
Yeah.
So I get that. I understand. So it's like it goes on both sides. You have women and men that are just kind of aligning themselves with the wrong kind of goals right now.
Of course. Yes.
Women also want the career and stuff early and everything too.
Well, yeah, and especially this day and age women, they're really bad with having to work, and I don't get that.
No.
You know, they want to act like they're more important than they are, when they already have a very, very important job.
Yes. I mean, there's nothing more important than raising a family and being
No.
family to your husband. You know.
But there's so many of them that just talk trash about it, like, oh, why would I ever want to do that?
Even worse, the ones that are married end up talking trash about their husbands on the internet.
Yeah, they do. There's a lot of that.
Even if they are saying that this is a good man and he's a really great husband, but I consider divorcing him because he didn't unload the dishwasher right.
Yeah, well, no, one time. It was like,
Yes.
okay, he started doing everything correct, and then one morning I had to come out, and the cup I wanted was in the dishwasher. It was clean, by the way, but it was in the dishwasher. So he must just not care about me.
Oh my God, I'm not heard. I'm not seen. And he said that he had to go to work. He was going to be late for work. I'm just like, oh my God. So he doesn't care if I'm going to be late to work.
Yeah.
Doing what? Being an influencer, you know, doing these self-help classes for women so they can understand the quote-unquote mental load.
Exactly. And it's like most of these guys are all like construction workers, linemen, I mean, heavy
like
lifting.
Working outside.
Yes.
Doing things, you know, that actually put their life on the line. But this is what they talk about in Christianity, though, being equally yoked. That means, you know, like, say if you have a cart that's being pulled by two horses, if you have one pulling most of the weight, it doesn't work. You know, like the horse that's pulling all the weight is very resentful of the other horse because it's not putting its time in, and also you are never going to get anywhere.
That's exactly right.
There's a reason that you're supposed to be yoked with two horses. So that's what they mean by being equally yoked, is so that you have the same alignment, you're pulling the same amount of weight in your different ways, you know, but you're supposed to be like equal.
Exactly. You know,
it's not happening.
It's not, and the female is supposed to hold down the fort at home. You know, the guys can always help at home.
Right.
They can always help getting stuff going, making it a little easier. But yeah, that's her domain.
It's like, you know, she should know how to manage the household. She should know how to manage children. She should know how to manage animals. She should know how to cook food. She should know how to clean things should that have to be. She should know how to teach. All of those things that were traditional. I mean, there was a reason for thousands of years they were done that way.
Exactly. Yeah.
But I do believe that people need to start off a little bit younger than they are now.
Well, yeah, because like the age we're getting to now is kind of the end of the safe points to have children.
Right. Oh, for sure. Like, I would not want to have my first at this point. There's just no way.
Yeah, it wouldn't go well.
No, like, when you're younger and doing it again is not such a good thing because I know what to expect. I've done it before. But I would be struggling really bad if this was my first. This would be,
oh yeah,
it would be really mentally and physically taxing. No, I don't think that you should be waiting this long, especially to have your first. You know?
No, not at all.
It's so. Yeah, just for various reasons, I do believe that people, if they should get young, they should get married between the ages of like 21 and 25. You know?
That sounds like a good range, yeah.
Because then you can build your life together.
Yes.
And you learn so much together at that point. And it's like so much better to go through life with somebody.
It is, for sure.
Most things.
All right, back to the
yoked, shacked up, and then the divorce, guys, is almost the exact same. There's no way if you're a born again believer, you're going to have that same divorce rate.
Yeah, you touched on it briefly. Even if the Christians are born again and regenerated, we see a lot of churches, especially here in the West, milk feeding and bottle feeding Christians, basically. So, you know, they may be hearing the gospel right. Praise God, we're saved by grace through faith alone, not by our works, lest any man boast. But there's nothing beyond that. They're not encouraging or equipping people to go onto the path of discipleship. And I think it comes down to, like, people are so entitled today in and outside of the church that they don't know how to endure pain. They think that the slightest bit of inconvenience, it means, oh, woe is me. And again, because they're so entitled, they think that it's something that they should run away from rather than running towards.
All right, I just had to stop it right there really fast too. And yes, the entitlement, the pain,
Conflict avoidance.
yes,
That's like anything like that. And, sorry, suffering. Anything beyond suffering is like that's what you're looking for.
yes,
You have to suffer to get there. You have to.
life is suffering.
Yeah, the whole point is to make sense of that suffering, to make meaning of that suffering.
See, I didn't know much about that until I met you.
You avoided it like,
oh God, like the plague.
Crazy, yes.
And it's like that was one of my biggest things. Is it's like, well, no, it doesn't feel right. I don't want to do it. No, this isn't right. And it's like that's not what life's about.
Right. No, and even here, I'm like, I'll still yell from time to time. I'm like, just one word, suffer.
Yeah.
Like, you have to suffer. You have to know, because on the other side of that is that huge growth period.
Yes.
And just like, I mean, for lack of a better term, bliss and joy. Because I mean, like, it's not comfortable. What was I saying? It's not comfortable for the grass to break through the ground.
No, it's not.
It does, so it grows. And it's not comfortable for the baby chick to break through the egg, but it has to because it grows. And it's not comfortable to give birth to a child.
No.
You do it so that your family grows.
No, I've watched you twice with that, so.
So, it's like, but on the other side of that,
yes,
it's just like, that's the whole point. People don't even want to struggle in the slightest bit anymore, and they just want to be happy.
Yeah, well, see, that's what I hear all the time. It's like the LGBT community, all of it. The ones, that go to these pride, that are prideful. It's like, the ones that are transitioning. Well, why'd you do it? Well, because this is what feels right. This is what makes me happy. And it's like, that's not what life is. It's not about you being happy.
And the Bible talks about, like, how many times men are going to think that what they feel is right. But it's not about what you feel is right. It's about what God feels is right.
Yes.
It's like, it's usually not in alignment. It doesn't feel that good at first.
No, it won't.
And like for me, I didn't want to have children. I didn't want to be married. And it put me into it anyway. And I understand why now.
Yes.
I go through some stuff. And I mean, even right now, I'm like on shaky footing. But because I have like a bigger faith and everything else, I'm okay with it. It's like I'm just getting through it because I know everything's going to be okay. I'm put here to be with you and
yes.
to get through to the next thing, So it's like, it doesn't always feel right to you.
No.
But it's what God wants. And that's biblically speaking.
Exactly.
So these people, they're just like super conflict avoidant and they want to be happy. And even the allies are like, oh, I just want them to be happy. And it's like, but then, then you don't want the best for them.
No, you don't. Because within the best is suffering, as we discussed.
Right. My own mother, she told me, she's like, well, it's okay as long as you're happy. And I'm like, I'm happy for the most part. And she didn't like to hear that. And I'm like, well, nobody's happy all the time. I'm like, with joy comes happiness, but
yes,
joy is eternal.
She was never happy.
No. And it's like, once you realize that you're doing things the right way and living righteously, then yeah, that's all you need. And yeah, you'll find happiness,
Oh yeah, for sure. You'll find joyfulness.
Well, and you can find happiness within joy as well.
Yeah.
It's just moments, and
dead on.
That's okay.
Yes.
You don't have to be miserable.
Nope, you don't.
It's something that Dave and I have learned even just in this first 3-4 months of marriage is it's painful a lot of the time. It's literally like another person being a direct mirror in front of you, and they're going to bring out the best in you and also the worst in you, and they're going to annoy the living crap out of you. And so a lot of people, again, with this like narcissism, to be completely honest, or avoidance of pain or difficult things, because they're not being properly discipled, they run away from it. The second that they may be courting people that very well could be from God, they're just so quick to throw in the towel. So
Yeah, and I truly do believe, guys, maybe this is a hot take, but I don't care. I think because there's this big idea going around with, especially with, I mean, really with a lot of churches, and I think they mean well, but you should not be getting married the second you find Jesus. That is the stupidest advice I've ever heard. That's kind of like getting your driver's license, right? Day one, you got your driver's license, go buy like in $1 million Lambo or something like that. Dude, you are going to crash the crap out of it. You start with the bummy little Honda CRV. That's what I started with. Heck, I still have that if I was back in Canada. Okay, I love that car. And you slowly build your way up as your experience goes up. Like marriage, guys, and again, this is a bit more of my opinion. I'm not saying if you got married right away, it can never work. No, relax. But marriage is such, man, you are playing with, as a man to protect you, you're playing with this woman's soul. If you think like the second you find Jesus, first off, dude, you don't even know what the Christian walk is yet. Why would God send you a woman for you to take care of her soul if you really can't even take care of yours? So what I'm saying is I truly do believe the biggest reason why, first and foremost, we'll speak about divorce later. I mean, they really go hand in hand, but the majority of Christians are not getting married is because you're not ready. It's as simple as that, guys. I was on my polylark for about 4 years, right? If you're new to this, a polylark is basically, right, you're single celibate serving the Lord. And after about the 4-year mark, where I was really stewarding correctly, I was showing God. What you guys need to understand this too. And again, this is a root of the hippie evangelical churches. You know, God has no reason to bless you with anything. If he has no reason to, if he doesn't see fit that you're a good steward, he doesn't have to bless you with anything. I say that to myself. God didn't have to bless me with a wife. God didn't have to bless me with a ministry. You guys need to understand that salvation and discipleship, the Christian walk, are completely different. God promises, yes, for all those that believe on the Son, Jesus Christ, to find eternal life. That's his promise. Amen. He does not promise you that you're going to find a sweet little Latina honey or make a lot of money with your ministry or whatever, guys. Okay. I truly do believe that comes because you're stewarding. You're showing God, hey, I'm ready. I'm ready to take care of a woman. I'm ready to take care of a flock of people. So God will add that to you, similar to Matthew 6:33. Which is a complete different topic. But to simplify, guys, the reason Christians aren't getting married is because there's no reason for you to get married, dude. You are not ready. I'll tell you guys this, thank God it took 4 years for God to build me up, because now that I'm with Mallory, like, I'm able to handle it. But you guys, like, it's not easy, man. You are going to have what I think too, and I'll let you go. I'm kind of just yapping, which is the point of this podcast.
It's okay.
We just, guys, I'll be brutally honest with you. We have the wrong idea of what marriage is. There's a lot of hippie, effeminate Christian men that are just glorifying marriage. Like, it's my missing, infinity stone. If I have this, all will be sunshine and rainbows. And it's like, dude, you're wrong.
And Sancho, yes, I saw your message, and you're right. I mean, the women, it's crazy. You're supposed to want the best for the other person.
I mean, it's in your nature for as men to want the best for
Yes.
women in general, just like whether they're your mother, your sister, your daughter, your wife, whatever. It's like you want the best for them because it's in your nature.
Exactly.
But it's for some reason in women's nature to be extremely self-destructive, and
It is.
I mean, it's like that's the Lilith complex,
Yeah.
It's like just wild, free, and it's like so. We have to acknowledge that as being our base instinct and go the other way. We have to. It's something you have to work on like all the time. It's like just being ourselves and being, wild and free
will cause damage.
Yeah, it leads us to destruction every single time. Every time. So it's like we have to go against our better nature, not our better nature. We have to go against our natural proclivity to be a refined person.
Yes.
And that's your job as men to guide and direct us in that. But that's not how it's seen anymore. It's just seen as control.
Exactly.
And as a matter of fact, I wanted to show you something else real quick.
Okay.
I don't know if you, if Sancho has seen this or you have, but did you see Toni Braxton's outfit that she wore to her son's graduation?
No.
Okay.
I'll try to show you too.
If you're not, you can go look it up yourself.
Yeah.
That is her son.
Wow.
That is her son, and this is his graduation. And she looks like she's going to a funeral for a side piece. Hold on. There we go. She has the fishnet stockings all the way up. She's wearing a shirt that doesn't even cover her hips.
I see that.
It's just... Do you know how old she is?
30.
She's 56.
Holy, yeah.
She's old enough to know better.
Oh, she is for sure.
Yeah. No, I mean, she looks pretty damn good, I have to say, for her age. But I mean, that's besides the point.
Oh, it is, yeah.
That's just dark energy at work right there.
That
know?
is.
'Cause my mother looked really great for the longest time too, but she was aligned with dark energy, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what she wore. Look at this. Oh, excuse me. I think it
Wow.
is a skirt that she's wearing, but I mean, you can see the fish. I mean, it's like here. Let me see if it's
Right there.
Right there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Take a look at that. Anyway, go look it up. Tony Braxton, son's graduation from Howard University. Check out those pictures. It's disgusting, and it's I think because I don't believe she's married, and if she is,
I have no idea.
he's a simp. Yeah, shame, exactly.
Shame.
Let's see.
Shame.
But she's like exactly what I was. It's exactly what I was thinking. You know, when women are left to their own devices, they
exactly
wild and free and all that. And it's like it leads to destruction every time.
I know it does.
Let's see. Is she married?
Uh-huh.
It was short-lived. It said she was married to Birdman in 2024, but the marriage was short-lived. They reportedly filed for divorce just 2 weeks after their wedding.
TMZ reported.
So now they're saying that they're still legally married, but I mean, come on, you gotta. No.
Yeah, that's stupid.
No.
Thank you.
And yeah, and you know, women they not only do they run destruction on themselves, they like run the men that are in their lives, their sons included, into the ground.
They do, yes.
And that's why I wanted to submit and soften, because I didn't want him to be raised up the same way.
Exactly. You know, it's like our generation is very big on this breaking the generational curse, and I love it.
Yes, me too.
I really hope that more do it, because there still are some that, you know,
that are just doing it,
yeah.
or they're so soft that they let their kids get away with anything and everything.
Yes.
And then it's leading to the current Gen Alpha problems, where it's just like, I mean, and Gen Z also, a lot of them can't handle criticism.
Oh, I know.
It's anything, and it's
insane.
It's like you gotta get your shit together, people. You know, get tough. You know. We try. All right, let's continue.
Yep.
Marriage is pain. It is service, right? What does Ephesians 5 say? 5:25, to love your wife as Christ loved the church, self-sacrificially. Where's this hippie? Heck, maybe even I kind of believe this. I don't think I was ever that bad, but I'm here to tell you guys, marriage is such a beautiful thing. Yes, it's only been a few months, but I'll tell you what, man, if you are not ready to put your nuts on the line and to put away your selfish desires, do not get married. Christian men are not married. They're not ready to get married. That comes later in the path, so you will be.
While you were talking, it actually reminded me of kind of the ideology subconsciously that feminism pushes out, where they want all these rights without the responsibility.
Right.
And that's a conversation for a different day, the fruits of feminism, how that seeped into the church and, of course, in society today. But that's exactly, again, while you're talking, that's what it reminded me of. A lot of Christians, they want that honey boo boo thing that's going to fulfill their lust desires, even though, if you guys don't know already, marriage doesn't just take lust away. In fact, it can increase, you know, if you weren't faithfully walking that part of your relationship with God previously in that area or discipleship. And to add to that, I think a lot of people, they say they want this right of marriage. They want that best friend that they can do life with, which is amazing, or even they want those kids that they can eventually have. But they've been so lied to through social media on what that actually looks like. They have a very perverted and not godly image, like you were saying, of what marriage or even parenthood actually is. And just to give you guys some examples, I may go off on a rant, I apologize in advance, but all throughout social media, I see these women bragging about how their men are spoiling them. And there's women in the comments complaining, well, my husband doesn't do that for me, even though I'm almost positive their husband does provide, their husband does protect. But because they don't live out this like Prince Charming that's being portrayed in a lot of men on social media, they think that their marriage is less than. And then same thing with men, they're being pushed out these lustful images of women constantly. So that's going to plant seeds subconsciously of like, well, my wife doesn't look like that. And all it does is it causes comparison in marriage. And I think causes Christians specifically to lose track on the whole point of what marriage actually is between a man and a woman blessed under God. Is it's to fill a mission that brings God glory. That is the whole point of marriage, which I'm sure David will be getting into. But again, because of social media and society around us, we think it's about us, but the Bible makes it very clear that love is not self-serving. Marriage, true biblical marriage, is two people trying to outserve one another. And I just think that's simply a lost art in the church, and quite frankly, just not talked about nearly enough in a lot of modern churches. So.
Yeah, one thing I'll
There you go. You're up.
So yeah, that's one of the main things, is the out serving each other. That's the only way to go about it. Like when you wake up in the morning, first thing you think of is, how can I make their
Yes.
life? How can you make their life
Yes.
easier today? When he has gone to work and he comes back, the first thing that should be asked is, how was your day? Instead of just jumping in and saying, oh my God, this happened when you were gone. This happened. My day was so bad. How was your day? How are you feeling?
Yes.
I know that those words right there, how are you feeling, change the tone of absolutely every relationship, because women don't ask that
No.
anymore. And I had to read these things from a 4,000-year-old book, you know, and it was like,
Yep.
that's how far back I had to go to correct the problems that my family created.
And I mean, I'm still working on it myself.
Yeah. And
you know, it gets hard. I mean, you come home and you're rushed with all this stuff and you want to start doing this and that and talking. And
I don't understand, like, you know, I don't know how it is supposed to be for you, but that's just, I know as a woman, that's what we're supposed to do. It's like, you're supposed to say, you know, how was your day? How are you feeling? You know? And like, it's true too. It's like, people are always talking about, like, he's seeming so checked out. I don't know what's going on, you know, all this stuff. Why don't you ask how
And
you're
find
feeling
out,
instead
yeah.
of like, oh my God, you're neglecting me. You're not doing this for me. Ask why.
Yeah.
How are you feeling? You know, what's
that's
going on
that's
with
one
you?
of the most
And
simple things that you can do.
jars that out.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like a big thing. I mean, so many men don't get that. You know, they don't get that from their wives or girlfriends or mothers
that's
or
exactly
sisters
right.
or anything. It's like, how are you feeling?
And that's one of the biggest things. I mean, that'll change, like you said, that'll change how a guy's feeling.
Yeah, the whole tone.
The whole
of it.
everything.
Yeah. So it's like, making it about the other person. That's the only way to go. You know, being like trying to outserve. And in our religion, it's supposed to be whatever is pleasing to the gods. You know, you have to be pleasing to the gods.
Yeah.
And it's like, in order to be pleasing to, I mean, in my original order where I learned these things, the number one rule is to be pleasing to be around, pleasing to look at, pleasing to talk to, and not just like a vapid idiot, but, you know, somebody who actually can hold a conversation and bring something to the table and stimulate your mind and challenge you without making you feel threatened.
Exactly. And that's a big thing, because a lot of guys, you know, especially with the manosphere, they get this whole arrogant air about it.
Yeah, they want to have revenge. It's like, you know, build up your body, build up your house,
Yes.
everything, and then you will have revenge on her. She'll want you, and you can say, oh, screw you, kick you to the curb. And it's like, that just doesn't serve you, though.
No.
That's so hard on you still, you know?
What are you still getting out of that? Because you're still not, you still don't have her.
It's like, just do what's right, and it'll come to you.
Yes.
You know, I mean, like, God knows why the hell and how the hell you and I were even put together. I still, to this day, don't even know how it happened. It was like, I didn't go to school. He was going to high school. And
but I was feeling it from a young age. I knew.
Yeah. And I didn't
know what you would look like or anything, but I knew you'd be a country girl.
But like, what are the odds? You know, what are the odds that we would even meet?
Especially since I'm a city boy.
Exactly.
You know, I barely moved up to the mountains here, like, what was it, like, on my sophomore year.
Yeah. And we met, like, in 2003, right? No, 2004. And then you moved in 2005.
Yes.
You know, but it was like, I mean, what are the odds? I still don't even know. Like, but it happened and we went with it. And it's like, it's just been building and building and building this,
Yeah, it
all
was
this
through
time.
friends that we met and everything else.
just-
And one of my friends at the time, he had to go, and I guess would he hire you, or did he for the prom? Is that the first time I met you, or did we come to
Yes.
your party?
Yeah, and then you guys came to my party
Yeah.
months afterwards. Yeah.
Racehorse party.
Right.
And we came, and I was here and stuff, and
Yeah. It's just kind of crazy, how that happened. And it's
Yeah.
like, see, so you must have been putting that out there and not rejecting it because it fell into place.
yeah, I was a complete simp before all this. Bad. I was just, I shut down. I was just, yes.
And I knew things about his ex that I never told him because it was his journey to find out about. But as soon
Yep.
as he had closed the book on her, then I told him.
Yeah.
But I wasn't gonna interject that because then it would have sullied the way you thought of me, because it'd be like, well, what is your game now? Why are you?
It's
what are
true.
you
I mean,
playing
that's
at?
true.
So I just let it go until you figured it out, and then I confirmed it.
And then we started doing our hallway philosophies, which is pretty much what we do on these podcasts now.
Yeah, just sitting and talking.
Yep.
Yeah, talking about love and life and how crazy it is that we got to this point. Yeah, if you're living righteously, it will come to you.
That is dang right.
And it's like, sure, if you want to build up your money and your body and do good
Yes.
I guess that's okay, but don't shut out the spiritual part of it. That's the main thing that's missing from the manosphere. It's like they build up
Yes.
everything but the spirituality. And it's like, I promise you, if you are like a God-fearing, God-serving man, you will attract like in your life. You just have to put that into action.
Yeah.
And the more that you follow the path, the more that it's been easier for me to follow you.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
And it's
a
like,
lot's changed.
If he starts falling off of his meditations and his prayers and stuff, I start to feel that kind of like push away, and I start to get defensive, and I start to want to handle things myself again. It's just about spirit, you know? It's about spirit and prayer.
That's exactly right.
Okay, continue, I guess.
I'll tell you guys, right? We're just going to speak on a ton of things here for my young men, because I know a lot of guys are watching this, or at least I hope you are, man, because it's still a man podcast, man and woman podcast, 50-50. If you guys are dealing with lust problems, do not get married, man. Like, Paul says, right, it's better for a man to stay single unless he's burning desire, go get married. I just want you guys to understand that lust problem doesn't go away. Just because you're able to satisfy that, which I'll be brutally honest, I don't know the exact stats on this, but I speak to a lot of guys very closely, and I'm going to assume this is another reason why the divorce rate's so high. A lot of Christian couples aren't even having sex. So that's a complete different subject. But if you were dealing with a lust problem going into marriage, porn problem, yada, 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 you're cooked, dude. Do not think it's going to get easier. I'll tell you guys this. I was on no fat for about 5 years. I had one point where I really kind of slipped up for maybe about a week's time. But for the most part, guys, I was on full semen attention. I did not fornicate before, being born again. I was, from that point on, for the 4 years, I was completely celibate, guys. Because I had that under control, I, for the most part, was good with Mallory. But I'll let you guys know this. Even I got hit. And I think Mallory said this point to me a little while ago. I think what percentage of OnlyFans guys are married? Like 90%?
Oh, I think it was 90% of OnlyFans users are married
so
men.
90% of OnlyFans users, or at least something high, are married men. And I will be brutally honest with you guys. I didn't subscribe to it. I didn't sign up. Relax. But I never, when I was single, I would never consider doing that, subscribing to OnlyFans, nothing like that. But when you're married, guys, you get hit by bigger demons. That was the first time. There were 2 times in particular, I felt that allure of you know what, maybe I should just you guys know how it gets you. You get on Instagram, you see the thing, you go to the link, and you're like, well, should I have this? Da da da. Of course, guys, they're just thoughts, right? Our thoughts are not always our own. Okay, that can be completely from Satan. But I just find it very interesting that I was getting those thoughts when married opposed to single. And the reason for that, guys, is because when you're married, you are subconsciously locked. You're locked down. And I think that's what it's very simple psychology, guys. If you can't have something, you're going to crave it more. It's as simple as that. If you buy a house and you're stuck in that house, what are we naturally going to do? We're going to get FOMO. We're going to get the grass is greener on the other side. And I'm here to tell you guys that I got that as a married man. Right. So if you are dealing with lust, you got to really close those doors, man, because make no mistake, they will come into marriage. And it's a completely different topic. We'll speak of. I'll give you
Yes, and as he was talking about the whole thing of the corn and everything else, as far as that goes, it's big. I mean, that will take down any guy. I don't care how masculine the guy is. That will take anybody down. You know, I've shared my story a couple of different times. I know there's a live at least, and I think I did an actual video on this too.
The dangers of pornography.
Yeah, pornography,
Yes.
and then my story on it. You know
Yeah.
what's gone on.
It changes your entire constitution of thinking. It changes
Yes.
your entire level of purity.
Because it shows you something that's not. It shows you what, you know, it trains your mind for what a woman should look like with the corn, with the way it is on that. And that's just not reality. It's not reality of like what you're going to get into, what you're going to do, what you can do.
It's not the same kind of level of intimacy. You're not going to ever feel the same way. Like, and it stays with you for a really long time because it still causes a great deal of insecurity on my end because of the stuff that we have struggled with in the past, and that's been like 15 years or more.
And it still comes up.
You know, yeah, and it's like just come up at the most random of times, and it's like there'll be something that triggers him to start feeling like shaky and like nervous, and to me I perceive that as being guilty, and then it turns into this whole downward spiral. And so I mean, just it's best if you don't get into it at all to begin with, because it is literally its own demon.
Yeah, it's demons. It's demons that lurk and wait and watch and attach.
And I worked on the other end of it, and so I have those insecurities as well, because I saw, yes, most of them were married men, and most of them were sneaky, and most of them were into the most degenerate stuff that you could think of. And so I have those insecurities as well.
I have friends.
Yes. Yeah, and I mean, he's, you know, our son he's going to be 15, and he has friends that have already stepped foot into it, and I feel so bad.
Yeah.
Because they are never ever going to be the same.
No, they won't. You will never be the same after it.
And it will affect their relationships for years to come. And if they do not have a solid foundation and everything, then I mean, it could ruin your marriage.
Oh yeah, and I mean, they have made the system now for all of this.
There's a whole point. Yep.
So brilliantly that it will draw even the smartest person in.
And like my thing isn't lust. My thing is rage.
Yes.
But it's the same sort of thing. It's like it's so easy to just fall back into it and start, and it causes so much damage. And like, so yeah, I get easily rage baited, and you know, like
exactly
everybody else gets masturbated. but there's a whole Jordan Peterson discussion on this that's really great. That talks
he's really good with all this too.
How like the hedonistic degeneracy of it will just completely like flush you down the toilet, you know.
And I just learned that Peter
Jordanson.
Yeah.
Jordan
Peterson has his own school now too.
Oh, nice.
That you can sign up online, and there's going to be 4 new classes a month or something.
Oh, interesting.
So that's anybody can take them.
It's tempting. Yeah, I'll take a look at that.
He's great. He's great with all of this stuff. I mean, if you don't know him, check him out.
Yeah. He does talk about like legitimate physics and stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Over my head. I mean, crazy discussions that I just cannot possibly even fathom keeping up with. It's nuts. That guy is smart.
He is.
But knows a lot about this sort of stuff too. You know? And he's always saying, choose your sacrifice. Either sacrifice your hedonistic self to, fall into easy pleasures and lose a bunch of stuff, or sacrifice in the name of something bigger and grow your spirit. And it's a tough one though.
It really is. Yes.
Yeah. And it's been years, but I mean, it's like I can remember that day as if it was yesterday. You know, I had my little CD player, and he was walking back, and I just chucked it right at his head, and I was like, you know, what the hell is this? You know, and that stayed with me forever. And
it's serious, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, this guy here talks about it too. He had issues with it too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you grew up within our period of it, the start of when the computer really kicked in and stuff. I mean, most guys are your learning points because most of them went through this.
Yeah, well, seriously, like in the early 2000s, they were actually telling you this was a good thing.
Yeah.
They were saying that, masturbation is actually needed in order for your mind to be clear and all of this.
What's that? I looked it up. It's still like that.
Is it?
People still say that.
Really? Yeah, now they're starting to do a bunch of studies and everything that they know that it isn't. It changes your entire brain chemistry. It changes.
Yes, it does.
It changes everything. But yeah, we grew up.
I'm proof of that. It does.
We grew up in the time where it was like, yeah, this was actually encouraged, and casual sex was no big deal.
No.
That's what they were saying. That's just the way that it is. And and women don't have to feel sorry about it. If the guys can do it, we can do it, right? And that's not true. And there's plenty of studies out there that back that up scientifically.
Yes.
And it's not just about some false morality or religion. There's some facts behind there. And
there are.
It changes you. And yeah, not an easy thing to
not
to deal with.
Not at all.
Again, we're put here to learn from each other and to struggle with each other.
Exactly.
And, it's about serving instead of just what can I get out of this. And
that's exactly right. Yes.
If it was about like what I could get out of it, I would have been gone a long time ago, because who wants to deal with that?
Of course.
But then what?
Where would you be? I mean,
then I would think
you'd be right.
Next one.
You'd be right back with your mother.
Yeah.
Miserable and.
Yeah, and
probably wouldn't have money issues, but
if there was another guy in my life, I would think more of it then. It's like, well, the last one did it, this one's gonna do it, and that's
exactly.
Suspicion. And one of my biggest things was always going through people's stuff, going through your stuff, going through your wallets, going through your social media accounts, going through the computers and everything. And I would just be so sick doing it, knowing that I'm probably gonna find something. And it's like your mind will find it even if it isn't there.
Yeah.
And so that's like one of the main things that once I got right spiritually, I don't feel the need to have to go through anybody's stuff anymore.
I mean, you used to go through people's medicine cabinets too.
Yeah,
just to know
who I'm dealing with. It's like, do they have antidepressants? Do they have anti-anxieties? Are they on painkillers? Just so I know who they're dealing with. And I don't have to do that anymore.
No.
And it's just all about faith.
Exactly.
I'm gonna have to plug this in.
What, the phone?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to get started on them.
Yeah.
Tips, yada, yada, because it does get better. I'm much more attracted to Mallory now. Like, you guys need to understand, with marriage, you grow in love. At least, again, it's only been a few months, so go easy on me. But like, with those 3 months that have gone on, you grow in attraction, you grow in love. And it's a beautiful thing. But if you don't know that up front, man, you can really cause damage.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm really glad you brought that up, because that's something that I truly do believe is the biggest reason why Christians specifically aren't getting married. We touched on, them not being able to suffer well, having, narcissistic attitudes and mindsets and stuff. But I think a really big part of that is people fail to realize that God is not going to give you a perfect person that comes in perfect packaging. I think even more so for the men, because you guys are the leaders and y'all are going to be called to train us wives even more than the wives would like train, I guess you could say, their husbands, because we help each other grow more and more to look like Christ. But again, because of what's being pushed out on social media, if they've struggled with lust in the past or through pornography, OnlyFans, whatever it is, I really see a lot of men subconsciously putting other Christian girls to that same standard. They're like, oh, you have to be my mom. You have to be loving. You have to be ready to have kids. And you have to be a 10 out of 10 model. Like, I'm sorry, but especially if you want a young girl, you're not 99% of cases, it's not going to be like that. I heard a great sermon one time talking about how, again, mainly towards the husband, God will hand you the raw materials of a wife. Yeah. And he's going to entrust you with the responsibility to be able to build that woman up to become the woman that you want her to be. And most importantly, who God wants her to be. It's not talking about you trying to fit her into the OnlyFans perfect 10 out of 10 model frame, but it is so true. And we've seen the fruit even in our first 3-4 months of marriage. When you're treating a woman right, when you're leading her correctly, she's naturally going to become more prettier. She's going to have any sort of like masculinity that may have turned off men previously being purged out of her, because I feel safe. I'm able to step more into my feminine frame. So again, like, I don't know if you want to add anything.
It was a great point, guys. I really like what Mallory said as far as God handing you the raw materials. Here's another thing too, guys. And yes, I changed my hat. Okay, I just put it from backwards to frontwards, and at the end you care. Is that the same David? Yeah, it's the same David. Anyways, yeah. So God's gonna send you the raw materials, guys. And I'll be brutally honest. It affected me, man. Dude, it's gonna affect every man. I'm gonna keep this podcast so raw with you guys that you're gonna say, you know what? I gotta subscribe. Turn on that notification bell because ain't nobody saying it the same. Yeah, dude. You guys need to understand this. It's a bit of soteriology for you guys, right? When you're born again, okay. If you're not born again, all you are is a zombie. You're a dead man walking. We just have our flesh, right? The wages of sin is death, all right? Now, when you're born again, this is 1 John 3:9, right? It says that the seed of God, he who has been born of God cannot sin because the seed of God does not. When you're born again, you now have the Holy Spirit. That's what does not sin. When we go to heaven, guys, our flesh is bye-bye, okay? It's our spirit. What you guys need to understand, though, Paul makes it clear in Galatians 5:17 that it's that spirit and flesh that wage war to the day we die. So this is a completely different topic. We're not going to go into it. But what you need to understand is you still have your flesh. I have my flesh. That never fully goes away. We know in Romans 7:15-24, Paul speaks of the wrestle, right? I do the things that I don't want to do, the things I do. So even Paul, guys, was not sinless perfection. So for any of these works-based people, you need to learn better theology, man, okay? We are not saved by our works. Our works don't maintain our salvation. If that was the case, you would be going to hell alongside all of us, okay? There'd be no point for Jesus to die. Anyways, though, with that said, yeah, you're going to deal with these things, man. Like when I married Mallory, and I'll just be honest with you guys, and this is, I'm sure in Mallory's case too a little bit, but I married Mallory not because of her looks. I married Mallory because of the promise God gave to me and how it would further glorify God. Like there were things with Mallory 3 months ago that like I didn't think Mallory was a 10 out of 10. And I think that was my fault, that I was letting you know that I was even brainwashed by social media and the websites and TikTok. And I know how much more other men are brainwashed. And I believe this is the point I was trying to make. The majority of men are not getting married as Christians because your filter is wrong. You're wearing sex-colored, rose-colored goggles. If I had that, I can guarantee you guys had that because I was really good with my lust problem beforehand. You need to be really careful, man. I can almost guarantee you this. God's going to bring you the girl, like Mallory said, or the guy, because I ain't no perfect by any means. And that's what I was going to allude to. How we grow into marriage, right? You grow into loving them, but God's going to send you that woman who maybe in your standard is not going to look like that dream girl I had when I was growing up. Mallory wanted to date like a cowboy initially. I ain't no cowboy, right? So it goes both ways, but you need to look.
Okay. Yeah. So, I wasn't looking for anybody like at all.
Yeah, you weren't.
But if I had a type, you were not it.
No.
Like
I wasn't even in the ballpark.
But there was something, like I had a dream one night and it was definitely you. And I mean, you look pretty much for all intents and purposes exactly as you do now. But I had a dream of a man wearing a monk robe, heavier monk robe, and he was smiling and he was in the sun and he was helping people get onto a ship. He was helping people step up onto like an old boat, and he would reach out and take them and then set them out, and then he looked toward me and smiled like he knew me and then put his hand out, and it just like I knew that was the potential, that was your potential.
Yeah.
And you ended up like just over the years, just weirdly enough, just shaping more and more into that, just year by year, until you see what he looks like now, what is before you now. And I mean, like that was crazy. But yeah, like I mean, like I said, I didn't want to be with anybody, but like the actors and stuff that I liked, like they were completely different than what you looked like at the time. He looked like, I don't know, he looked like a little NASCAR dweeb, and so it was just
hey, like, I was working on race cars then, what can I say? Not
my ideal, like I guess type if I had one, but it's funny how that like they were saying it you get shaped to that. I don't really think that my style's changed a hell of a lot.
No.
But I did used to wear like more dangerous clothing, I guess you could say, halter tops, tube tops, but
yeah, you were in, like, I have not seen you in a long time in pants.
Yeah, right. I used to wear pants a lot more. I was starting to wear skirts more, but yeah, now it's like I've shifted to wearing ponchos and skirts, and that's it, but
well, I mean, you've been through a lot in your life, a lot. I mean, 15 years old, right? When with Coda.
14.
14.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and had her first wolf dog get killed in front of her, pretty much.
Yeah, he was shot dead in front of me, and I spent all night looking for him, and the people that killed him just went back in the house and didn't bother saying anything.
I mean, it's a hell of a story. It's a lot worse than that. The people were assholes for for that. I mean, there's not much more to say on that subject.
It's a whole different
so, I mean, it led to a lot of your anger issues, especially towards men, because your mother made sure of that.
Right, yeah. See, my innocence died that night and my trust in men died that night because he was supposed to protect, he was supposed to make sure this shit didn't happen, and it happened.
Yeah, your stepfather.
Yes.
Your stepfather. He came home when Coda got out, like just after.
Yes.
And he was supposed to go out and try to find him, but he was just like, oh, whatever, just stayed in the house.
Yeah, he was out by the garage smoking a cigarette, repeatedly saying, oh, he's going to get shot, he's going to get shot. And then he just went back to work, and he didn't go over there and stop it from happening. And so, yeah, my faith in men was totally shaken that night. And it just kind of went from there, you know, the problems with my mother and everything kind of stemmed from that whole situation. So
that's for sure.
So, like, for you, I would imagine that it was more of how I've changed my personality over the years. That's been the biggest
you're so much calmer.
Shift, not so much the physical appearance.
No, but you used to be so wound up and fireball.
I always fighting, and I always thought that they were righteous fights, but none of them really mattered, and it was all fighting for the wrong causes.
Yeah.
So, and then there was the forced abortion.
Yeah, the forced abortion that we dealt with.
Forced abortion.
And I mean, I wasn't even really in the ballpark even with that. I mean, your mother had me on the outside of everything.
Yeah, so there was a lot. So yeah, I guess for you, I mean, yeah, your personality has changed a hell of a lot as well, but it's like your physical appearance has completely changed over the years as well. And I guess, like I said, for me, it's more or less the temperance.
Yes.
You know, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, and Sancho, yes, I do think that you will find a female for yourself. I know you will.
See, I've yet to meet my own woman. Yes, she's out there. You think I have a female? Absolutely.
And then, did you see what he said about you?
Thank you. I've been through some things and everything, you know, but I mean, there's a few of us out here still, I think. I don't know.
Well, like I said, we just found these people. I was listening to them and stuff, and I love it. I mean, he goes out and does straight preaching too.
Yeah.
And he's got some pretty good videos out there, so if you want to watch his stuff too, he's really good.
Yes, his other channel is called Christ Developed.
Yeah.
And then I guess it's just this one now, because the other one was Biblically Masculine, but now it's this.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I hope to be of inspiration to other women to say that you don't have to be so aggressive and so masculine to get what you want out of life. As a matter of fact, the more that I soften and the more feminine I become, the more that I get
exactly.
What I want.
Yes.
So it's just it's a trial and error period. But
yeah, you have to learn to work with the divine.
Yeah, you have to have faith
with each other. Yeah. With the divine. I mean, it's about just being.
So when I don't have faith in him, it doesn't matter. I don't think, oh God, I'm stuck, I need a divorce, what am I going to do? I don't think that. I don't think, oh my God, I'm going to be left with these children, I'm going to be left with debt. I don't think that, because I have a higher faith in something else. And before you know it, I've come back around to his side and everything is kosher.
Yes.
Halal. Yeah, we're really we couldn't have been more different with the way we were raised and the way that our ideologies were.
I know.
And we've come together and we have built an entire life. So I'm ever grateful for that.
And she's helped me so much with this channel, getting it going, getting it set up. So I'm hoping that this going to the Pride Parade is gonna up my game in this, and we can actually get a little bit more bumped up.
Yeah, fresher content, something that's his own, and everything, and just kind of go out and like, as Bo says, into the trenches.
Yep.
To see what's actually going on in the West.
Yeah, I've been talking. I talked with Bo a little bit already, but I've been trying to see if he's going to be at the Pride too. I would love for Nicholas to be there.
Oh yeah,
He's a
that would be
great one.
Amazing, get some pictures, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the whole point of a woman is to put her time and energy into what the man is doing. And it's
Yes.
like there's plenty of time to do my own thing here and there. You know, it's like I don't need to have a full-time channel or anything. It's just put it into what you need to do, because inevitably that's going to come back around to help me. So, you
Yeah.
know, it's like it's fine. I mean, that's what women are supposed to do.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
It's like put your skills and your support to help your mate
And work as a couple.
Yeah.
Both of you. It's not just about the woman helping the guy, it's about the guy stepping up and helping the woman too, you know, being together.
What is it that, like, 2 videos came up yesterday, this one and another one, and they were talking about men having to love their women as Christ loved the church.
Yes.
Which means putting your entire life on the line for your woman.
Exactly.
You know, so why shouldn't we help you achieve what you need to achieve so that you can better protect us?
Yep.
It's not that hard. You know, it's not that difficult. I mean,
No, it's not.
It's like I submit to him and I submit to a higher power, and he is learning to submit to a higher power and trust in faith and,
Yes.
and see the signs and work with that. And here we are, you know. And
It'll only get better.
Exactly. And your kind words are awesome, Sancho. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much, Sancho.
Look at number 1, what God is called, but 2, what are her internal traits? Mallory's internal traits were 10 out of 20 out of 10, man. She was good at evangelizing, polemics, apologetics. We agreed politically, dude. Everything. She could cook, clean. She got a fat butt. I probably cut that part out. She got everything, man. And I really mean it, like everything. But I wasn't the most attracted to her. But guess what, man? I put away those selfish desires. One of my favorite verses, 1 Corinthians 13:11. Paul says that when I was a child, I spoke as a child. I reasoned as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. And I put away those little egoic, oh, but you know, she's not this looking or this looking. And I trusted God, what he said. David, yes, I want you to marry her because it's going to glorify my kingdom. And because I did that, guys, guess what? God came through, made her objectively prettier. And I love her, yes, externally, but also, and most importantly, internally, more and more as time goes on. So use that as a testimony. Do not be deceived by modern TikTok, really like Pornhub. I'll be honest with you, because TikTok and Instagram, even a lot of Christian influencers, you look like whores. It's disgusting, man. It is pathetic. Do not be deceived.
Yeah, and that aligns with scripture. We read about it in Proverbs 31. I believe it's verse 30. I'm not quite sure, but where it talks about beauty and charm are fleeting, but a woman who fears the Lord shall be praised. And I think a lot of men and even women, you know, when looking at other Christian men to possibly date or court or marry, they in theory say that that's true and be like, yeah, I've heard a lot of brothers in Christ specifically be like, I mean, the same thing applies to my sisters, but I've heard a lot of brothers say, oh, I just want a girl who loves Jesus. And what else do they say?
She's just like
oh,
cute.
yeah.
She's just
Yeah,
cute,
that
loves
she's
Jesus.
cute. She loves Jesus. And I've called quite a bit of them out. And I'm like, there's plenty of those girls here at our local church, but they will completely shoot them down. And again, it's because they don't live up to that cute or pretty standard that they've been brainwashed to see that the porn stars and everybody do. Or to be quite frank, maybe they just don't have the biggest boobs or the biggest butt.
Right.
And the same thing applies to my sisters. They say, oh, I just want a guy who loves Jesus, who's going to lead me, make me feel protected. But what are you going to do when you get that highly emotionally intelligent man and he's correcting you as a man who is a leader should, a man who has a strong sense of discernment and isn't afraid to call you out on your bullcrap? The second that a man may start doing that to a girl, they think like, oh, he's controlling. I don't actually want to be with him. He may have anger issues, even though men biologically designed by God are going to be more territorial. They are going to have more of a proclivity towards anger. That's not an excuse, but just because, and it's a completely different topic, but just because a man isn't as soft as like a woman doesn't mean that they're wrong. That's actually a really good sign to marry that man.
God forbid a man's actually, he has a ball sack and he's aggressive.
Seriously.
What a joke.
Yeah. But again, I think it just goes back to
Okay, you're good.
So the biggest like load of bullshit that I hear next to women talking about the mental load and everything is how men are emotionally unavailable. They would describe
Yes.
men as being emotionally unavailable, and then they would describe the things that they do. Oh, well, he's stoic. He doesn't. It's like, so you're speaking about males. So he's male.
Yeah,
Then,
exactly.
It was like, that was like every male that I ever met, with the exception of the gay ones, was like that. Now the gay ones, yeah, they were exactly as I was. They were very catty, always. I mean, I had a best friend in high school that was really, we got along great because he was just always, tearing people down, talking about them behind their backs, being really two-faced.
We just saw stuff on him today.
He looks so old now.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know what's going on. I hope we don't look like that. But
No.
but he was gay, and he didn't tell anybody about that until he was out of high school. And then he came to me one night and he's like, I have something to tell you about my lifestyle. I'm like, you're gay. And he's like, God damn it. He's like, how does everybody know? And I'm like,
I don't know.
Jesus,
maybe it's
I
the
don't
way
know.
you present yourself. Maybe it's the fact that you're singing girls just want to have fun
with
or
a feather duster. Yeah. No, there was signs for sure. But all the men that I knew, him included, were stoic, quiet, a little sulky, or a little too sulky.
I was very sulky, yes.
But I was like, that's just how males are, and there's nothing wrong with learning how to communicate and be there, but like, the biggest thing that I have is I want a safe place to be feminine and run my mouth and be like, I'm feeling this way, and you just sit there and just take it and listen, and then when it's all said and done, say, okay, well, is there anything that I can do about that?
Yes, I got a bad habit though of
trying to fix it
before and being like, well, okay, this, that, and it's like, I just need to shut up.
Right. And that's fine. That's a good quality. Emotionally unavailable, I don't think that should exist.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what you want. You don't want a man that's going to be all up in his emotions.
Yes.
And you see what happens when they are. I mean, women don't like that either. And, what do we got here?
You said, okay, to be absolutely fair, yes, us younger males need to own up to that with our standards for partners. Guilty of that too.
Yeah, you have to look deeper. It's not so much a skin deep thing. It's
But see, it runs with guys and like their friends. They'll be talking to their friends and, oh yeah, this girl's got a nice butt, or that's what it all ends up being.
Right.
See, I really don't have anybody else that I talk to. I mean, the guy I work for, I have conversations with him, but
yeah, he's kind of that way too. It's kind of he's kind of superficial in that way. I mean, he's obviously way older now, but the stuff he's talked about in his youth was kind of oh my God, what are you talking about?
The guy I work for is a retired sports boat fisherman. Yeah. So he's seen stuff in his day.
So he's a captain, and he's a captain. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
But superficially. No, it's interesting. Once you start like having faith, it changes your perception. Like, you see things for what they really are.
Yes.
And perhaps that person who was not so radiant to you before is now beyond that.
It's true.
And it's like, I don't know. It just changes you.
It does. So it really does.
Just have faith. Read your Bible. Like, sometimes when I'm lost, I'll flip through and I open up a page to the Bible or another sacred text, and it literally is talking about, it's like an answer to my question. So if you're wanting to find something in your life, it's like, go read your Bible, have faith, meditate.
We read the Bible. I read the Bible every morning. Mm-hmm. Right now we're doing Psalms.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Which are literally, yes, like David complaining about.
Yeah, pretty much.
David saying, oh my God, why is life terrible? Why do you forsake me too? Oh my God, you're so great. Thank you for that. But
bipolar.
Some of them are really beautiful.
Yeah.
But it's usually what I do. I just open up to the Bible and there's my answer. It's like, what, and I'll write that down, So I have faith that you're going to find what you're looking for out there.
Oh, for sure.
And
he said, my two friends say I'm stoic too, but I wonder how women see me. Then I like to eat.
Hold on, let me see.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta like, don't throw your lot in with bad women. You know, don't just because they're easy,
Yeah.
just because they're available. Oh my God, they'll poison you, and then you will never find a good woman to live your life out with. It just
See, and that's the problem. The best women are the ones that'll make you wait for it.
Yeah.
Because the easy ones you never want to be around because you do not know their body count. You do not know how many people they have been with.
And then you're
and
with
then those
people...
demon attachments, because that without what that person's been with, then it adds into a pie where who have they been with?
Yeah.
Who have they been with? And who have
Yeah.
they been with? So now you're looking at like millions of people.
Yeah.
And it's like, so you pretty much did it with all those people.
Right. And it's even the same thing with pornography, just because if you like, you know, find your release with watching somebody that you don't even know, you don't know what that person
Exactly.
has gone through. You've made a soul marriage with somebody who you'll never even meet. And that is damaging. So it's like just it's best just to stay on the straight and narrow, like as they say in the Bible, you know, the path to righteousness is straight and narrow, you know, and the gate is hard to find. So because there's plenty of other people going through the wide gates, taking the easy route, you need to be the one set apart so that the good things come to you, because I guarantee that they will.
Oh, they will for sure.
Yep, it just
when you start living righteously, living right, you know.
Yep.
It's like I've been on the path for a while, but you know, I had my falling outs that I did, and one of them I ended up crashing a motorcycle into a cow.
That same day. You know, it was just like it was cause and effect, like instantly. And
I crashed, and I ended up I broke my which leg was it? I don't even remember now.
I don't remember, but it was
one of them. It was a foot. I broke the foot.
Yeah, he shattered the top of his foot, and literally there's still a scar here, but his whole eyebrow became detached. I could see the ligaments holding it up here, just completely detached the eyebrow, and it was like. And I'm sitting there, and it's like he's in all this pain. He's bleeding like crazy, and I'm like, "Do you see?" I'm like, "Do you see why this happened to you?"
Yeah.
You know, cause and effect. So yeah, walk the straight and narrow path.
Yes.
And all of the riches will come to you.
Of course they will. Yes.
Good woman will come to you. Money will come to you. Comfort, you know, like all of those things, you know, come to you.
Yes.
Okay, you may continue.
So people are so soft today. They don't want to take on the challenge that comes with marriage. They don't want to deal with the self-sacrifice that comes with that. And again, they're just selfish. They think, oh, I deserve this girl who is 10 out of 10 in every way, but I'm giving a strong 5.
Right.
Like, you have to be very honest with yourself and be like, okay, where do I stand? And that's what I need to be keeping my eyes out, not necessarily going and like pathetically throwing yourself at people, but you have to be honest. And I think just a good rule of thumb, I'll speak to my sisters, but I think this applies to my brothers as well. Like, if you find yourself praying so often of like, God, I want my husband to be this, this, and this. He needs to be making this amount of money. He needs to be da-da-da. How much more, if not the same, or how much more are you praying those same things for God to create you to be that woman who is going to support that strong, high quality man? Mm-hmm. For a lot of cases that I've seen, it's not much. Again, they're just narcissistically and selfishly expecting so much, expecting God to bless.
Okay, so really, really quickly, I want to say that in our religion, particularly, we're not allowed to really pray for material things, and we're not allowed to pray for ourselves. But even so, I would suggest instead of praying for your husband to do this and have this and make money, I pray, and I do pray, that he be illuminated and shown the way and led to righteousness and to understand. You know, I want those soul deep connections for you to understand those things and what it means for you to bring that to our family.
Exactly.
You know? So it's like I never pray for, oh, we need money, oh, we need a car, we don't need, and we ended up getting one anyway.
Yeah, we have a car now, so like, I mean that's the biggest.
But it was like I only ever pray for illumination. You know, it's for you to be shown the light, so you to know the way. So it doesn't do you any good to pray for material things.
No, because I mean the devil will quickly give you material things.
Yeah.
The devil will be like, see, this is what I can do. This is what I can do.
But
then the material things only last so long. They break. Stuff happens.
Need more,
yes.
You need something to replace it. Exactly. It's pray to be content with what you have.
Yes.
And there you go.
Exactly. All right, so we'll continue this for about another 5 minutes or whenever we get to about halfway. And then we'll continue this on next Friday because we're almost halfway and we've already gotten most of our time in. So,
you gotta mute.
Yeah, I gotta mute.
Got to mute.
Bless them. God doesn't have to give you anything. Even if you do your Paulina arc, which Dave and I like to call it, like where you're focused, celibate, serving the Lord, you can do all that right. And God bringing that wife and husband is still a blessing out of his goodness, not because you deserved it. Right. So I think if people would really humble themselves and, again, just learn how to be a servant in any way, shape, or form, that'll prepare you to have the proclivity, the endurance and the character to be able to be a good spouse to somebody.
Yeah, I think it's a couple things, guys. And again, I know it sounds kind of like we're coming at you. It's not. This is the problem, guys. We have a lack of individuals, a lack of churches. The majority of pastors have no courage, no nuts in between their legs. Guys, there are no more elders, and I'm not saying I'm a pastor. This is actually why we're doing this. There's no one telling you the truth anymore. Everyone is so afraid, always walking on eggshells. And you know what the fruit of that is? Modern evangelical Christianity, where the majority of Christians are getting divorced. I mean, we look no different from the world, guys. We have no godly standard. This is why the world makes fun of Christians, guys. Now, make no mistake, we're always going to be seen as fools, right? Oh, you believe in this, this. Okay, but I do believe, too, that Christians should still be the smartest, most equipped, healthiest. Dude, if you're applying the Bible, you're going to be an upright man. You understand? You're not going to be a lazy, slobby, entitled, effeminate man and vice versa for a woman. You're not going to be a Jezebel, angry feminist, blue hair, wearing a Jesus cross, John 3:16. At a certain point, guys, we need to honestly look at ourselves in the mirror and just take the L's. Again, with Mallory and I, it's because, and again, we're not perfect by any means. We miss by a long shot, but we acknowledge those shortcomings. Like with myself and Mallory, when you marry someone, you're taking on all their baggage. Yeah. You have to understand that. So Mallory kind of knew early on that my baggage was I'm a little hurt sometimes. So I get a little
heated,
heated, a little fired up. And now I think God can use that. I think that's actually needed more than ever. But that was something Mallory had to take into consideration, something I had to take into consideration with Mallory. She had a bit more of a masculine demeanor. Of course, she's still a girl and she's great, but I had, and I still do have to kind of work on that with her as she has to work on that with myself. But so here's what I'm saying. God's going to send you the raw materials, guys. We have to lower our standards. That's really what I'm saying. And that's what Mallory's saying. We're too selfish. It's narcissism. It's like, if he's not perfect, if she's not, you're not going to get married, man. Yeah. Okay. It's just not going to happen. All right. You're flawed. I'm flawed. We're flawed. And we can lower those standards and now just listen to what God wants. If God's highlighting someone to you, even if they're not a perfect 10 out of 10, you make them a 10 out of 10, man. And I'm telling you, the whole point of this podcast is to show that I've grown so much more in attraction and love to Mallory. Not because I dated her for those reasons, but because I was willing to bite the bullet, put aside my egoic David desires, and trust what God wanted. Who do you think knows you more, man? You or God? God.
Yeah. I think that comes down to fearing God above men. Exactly. I think the root of everything we were just talking about is because people aren't actually being taught how to go down that path of discipleship, how to pick up their cross, how to grow in love more and more with God. Is they still fear man. Exactly. I mean, if we're being honest, that's, now that I think about it, that was a big thing that kind of, we didn't really struggle with doubt so much. We knew God brought us together. But for me, I was letting the opinions of other people get in my head, even though I knew that you were the one God had brought to lead me for the rest of my life. And even you, there was some comments made because there was, still some issues with the attraction end of you thinking that I don't really want to be seen with, somebody that I'm not 10 out of 10 attracted to. And if you guys think that that's messed up, then you maybe you aren't ready for marriage because, in marriage or in courting, you need to have hard conversations like this. And I never shamed David because of it. In fact, when he came to me about this, I straight up told you, I don't think we've shared about this publicly, but I was like, look, you don't have to be with me. God can send you somebody else who is objectively prettier, but you know that you will not be able to fulfill your mission the same way nearly to the same extent as if you were with me. And I think that's why it's so important to fulfill God's calling for that he has for you individually. So, beyond a shadow of a doubt, God really did handcraft this person for me, not to look good as a side piece or like a pretty purse, but because together we can go significantly farther in fulfilling God's mission over our lives than we could apart.
Yeah, one thing I want to tell you guys, this is a bit of story time, which I've made very clear a lot of times, but I'll do it again to fill you guys up. So the whole point of this podcast, this episode, and again, we don't plan this, guys. This is all just spirit led. We need to stop being selfish.
Yeah.
The reason I was I wouldn't say I was close, but
Okay.
So I just accepted that you were put into my life, and so once we were together, we were together.
Yes.
We courted a little bit, but I just knew that it was not we were going to be together. So I started making plans for us together.
Because I wouldn't take no for an answer.
No, and it chapped my mom's ass. She's like, you need to go out into the world and live life by yourself. I don't think it's a good idea that he moves in with you. Like, if you guys go out to the city, you need to live by yourself. And she kept saying, and it's like, no, like, I just know we're together. We're together now.
Yeah.
So we're going to make plans together. And then even over the years when we went through that separation and that all that heartache and everything for like 18 months, it was like, I said, I love him. And she's like, why do you keep putting up with this? I love him. Why do you love him? I don't know. I don't know. I cannot tell you, but I do.
Yes.
And it is. And I just knew that, so
Exactly.
That was, and now because of that, we have like 2 wonderful sons and a whole life here that we've built up together and a household.
Couldn't be happier.
Yeah, I mean, it's so crazy just living a faith-based life like that.
And then getting to share it with everybody out there, getting to share and hopefully
being an inspiration.
Being an inspiration, getting through to other people. I mean, we got you, Sancho. We've been talking with you for a while now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
And I know that hardly anybody seeing our stuff right now, but I know that someday they will, and whoever needs to see it is going to see it.
And it's all there.
Yeah, it's there forever.
It's all there.
It's recorded. This is what we do anyway. We sit here and we talk about these things. So why not share it with YouTube people? And why not?
Exactly.
I mean, if we're called to do so, then so you did leave. Okay. Well, we're just about ready to wrap it up.
Yeah, we're wrapping it up, and then we're going to continue this video next Friday, because I think Wednesday we've got some woke stuff to go over.
I do. I have, we're going to be discussing the LGBT church doctrine thing, I think.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Oh, yeah.
Sound good? Because it's kind of come up a couple of times, so I thought it'd be something that we should, talk about.
Yes.
Because I found a new video, and it's really informative, and gives you some talking points about, what the Bible says about it for real.
And I got to get my practice in before I go to this event.
Yes. So, yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that as well.
Yep.
But
we're setting up. We're trying to make things lined up and right. And if you want, so everybody knows, we have Wolfoy's birthday coming up on the 25th.
Yes.
And then your birthday's the 29th.
Yep. And yours
then
is
mine's June 11th.
Yes.
So we got a whole row of birthdays coming up here.
Yes.
So we'll be celebrating that and everything. But Wolfoy, we've had his birthday presents all stacked over here, wrapped up and stuff that he's had to look at since the beginning of the month.
Yes. So
he's been going nuts with that.
We're gonna live stream his party and maybe the opening of presents or something. And so if you guys want to stop in and wish him a happy birthday, go to his channel, Wolfoy Productions. I might source it over to our channels as well.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah. But this was a good
this is a good one. I mean, we got a lot more to go over. So, I mean, these guys are good. This is, what was it called? What's this channel?
This is Christian Faith Podcast.
Yeah.
And check them out.
Wait, he's got this one, and then he's got his name.
David Hammond?
Yeah.
And he's also got Christ Developed.
Christ Developed.
Yeah.
So he's got 3 channels.
Yeah.
Right now.
So,
yeah. Thank you, Sancho, for joining us. Always fun, being able to talk and see what's going on out there.
Just walk that straight and narrow path, and
You'll find somebody. They're out there.
I guarantee it.
Mm-hmm.
We're meant to go through this life in pairs. We're meant to complement each other,
Yes.
to push each other, and nobody's really supposed to do this alone. Even if you are a Christian or a Buddhist monk, you usually find other Christian or Buddhist monks to be with.
Exactly.
Nobody's really supposed to do this alone if you really want to make an impact.
Yes. All right. Namaste, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. Ghouls out there.
Thank you. Have a good night, everybody.
Have a great night.